It's been a busy morning here in the wood yard. Rick stopped by and dropped off a load of logs, and I have been running some cherry through the Kindlet, making some cherry mini firewood. And we are going from the Kindlet to the kiln with this run today. And I'm trying something new and a little different to try to sort out and kind of clean the mini splits before they go in to the kiln. So what I've got going on here is I've got one of these rubber coated metal grates up on some sawhorses right out the end of the Kindlet. And what I did, now if you're thinking I should have this at an angle, I did have it from here down to that 2x4 there, so it was at an incline, and the pieces just wouldn't roll down like I thought they would. So having it flat like this actually is working out better because I can kind of take the splits and kind of just sift them across the top of this grate. And you can see that it's been working. So all of that stuff right there, and then all of this scrap bark and little odd splits, that's the stuff that I didn't want to end up putting into the kiln, because this is not going to be part of my final finished product. So I want to be able to take what I put into the kiln now, and right when it's done and comes out, I can put it in a bag, and then it will be ready. It'll be heat treated and ready to go to ship out as needed. My cherry supply is getting a little bit low, not too bad, but I had this little tote in here full of some chunks and some little rounds, or as Archie over there in the UK likes to call these, the bits. I had a little some bits in here. I had a bin of bits that I was going to put through and make some little smaller bits right there. Look at that, nice cherry mini firewood right there. So this has actually worked out, I don't know, fairly well. I think ideally it would be nice to somehow have something like this that kind of just moves and sifts all that stuff out on its own. But just doing it by hand, just like rubbing the pieces across here, breaks off a lot of the bark. It gets a lot of the little crumbs and dust out of it. And then when I throw it into the baskets, it actually knocks a little bit more off. And then when I take the baskets over and dump them in the baskets for the kiln, it does another round of knocking off just like the fines. Like this is the stuff that when I dump the basket in, it ends up getting knocked off. So it's not in the final product. You may be thinking why I don't just have those baskets from the kiln over here, and that's one of the reasons why I like to hit that. Drop it in that basket and knocks a little dust off, and then when I dump it in the big baskets, it knocks even more off. And the other thing is, the size of those baskets, when they're loaded up, they're not very light. So I thought about having them over here, but then I'd have to carry that whole big basket all the way over to put in the kiln. And the way I had it, I was able to just take it right off this little bench, just take it and then put it in. So that worked out a lot better. I mean, yes, well, no, I couldn't use the forks of the tractor because the tractor was right there, hooked to the Kindlet. So I don't know, it's just something, like I said, I wanted to try because I want to start figuring out a process to separate out all of this scrap and just the bark and debris. And cherry actually is a very dirty, once it starts to dry, it just creates a lot of this I don't know, fine dusty dirt. Again, as you can see from what is all over the floor of the little shed here. So I still have some more of this to do. I did what I had in here and what I ran through, I filled up both of those baskets. So I do have the kiln running right now. Let's just take a quick look here. We are up to just a little over 150. Got a nice little fire burning in there, and it doesn't take much wood, as I mentioned before. I will probably go through like maybe 3 or 4 pieces like this, and that's it. That is it. And then once I reach about 190, 200, I'll damper this way down, almost to where it's closed off, and just really let that slow burn work the magic. We are up to low 80s and upper 80, 90 on one. So that's just so you can kind of see where I place the probes in the kiln. Obviously, I'm guessing that that 91 and that 88 are probably a little higher up in the kiln. This 82 is probably back in like the back corner. But things are heating up. So like I mentioned, I'm just trying to figure out a little plan for cleaning the mini splits here. And I had these rubber grates, and I thought, you know, it'd be good to just somehow, like I said, I tried having it at an angle, but the little splits just weren't rolling down. And even if they were rolling down, it didn't really create enough, I guess, force and enough to just knock that stuff off and knock the bark off. So I don't know. One idea I thought about is like having a grate like this suspended from the ceiling that I could just like push and shake and have like a solid stop on the back side of it that I could push it out and it would swing and then come back and hit that stop and kind of like, or actually I think I would want the stop at that end so I could pull it this way, and then as it went forward and hit a positive stop, when the grate hit that, like all the wood, the momentum would then take all the mini splits and push them, move them forward. So I don't know, maybe that's something I could try to rig up here. I don't know. The other thing is making like a tumbler or a barrel roller somehow. The only thing with that is I'm not sure how it would go as far as how long I would have to run it once it was loaded, and if that would like really slow down production. I mean, this is obviously slows it down because I can only run so much that fits on the table, and then I got to stop, sort that stuff out, put it in the baskets, run some more. But I mean, it's not a big deal. You know, just part of the process. Part of the little process I'm still fine-tuning and figuring out. So once I get that kiln now up temp and I kind of level it off, I'm going to run the rest of these bits through the Kindlet and then go grab some lunch. And in about 2.5 to 3 hours, that run should be done. And I'm only doing heat treating. So I know that some of these splits coming off were like upper 20s. I think there was a couple of like mid 30% moisture percentage. So yeah, they're not fully seasoned yet, but I think 3 hours in the kiln, run them through the heat treatment process, and then if they need to season further after that, that's when I'll worry about getting them down to that 20%. So like running them in the kiln right now, I'm not trying to actually dry and season the mini splits any further. They're just going through the heat treatment process of getting the internal core temperature up to 140 degrees for 60 minutes. And then, like I said, once I achieve that, I'll take them out, put them in a bag, and then they will continue to season from there, because I'm not shipping these like out tomorrow. So I still have time that they can fully season and come down from, you know, 25% maybe down to 20. I'm not sure what they'll come out of the kiln at. Maybe I'll do a little update later and see, once that run is done, what the moisture percentage dropped down to after 3 hours or so in the kiln. So yeah, it's and then once that run is done, I'm gonna have hopefully this stuff all split and ready to go, that I can just reload the baskets. The kiln will be up to temp. I can put those in and do another round later this afternoon. That is gonna do it. I'm gonna go grab some lunch.